Well, I didn't really know what to do with this request, so I know you're Snooker Loopy nuts, so here we go. Might as well, rather than just talking, I might as well try and sing it. So, Snooker Loopy nuts are we, me and him and them and me. We'll show you what we can do with a load of balls and a snooker cue. Pot the red, then screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black. Snooker Loopy nuts are we. We're all snooker loopy. Bum 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 bum.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Snooker Loopy Podcast. We're on Crucible Eve. We're very excited. It's just going to start so soon. We've just watched the draw. It's early in the morning, but we're really excited to bring you this little podcast with me and my very good friend previewing the World Championship. But who is my very good friend? Of course, it is the gentleman, Joe Hannard.
Good evening, Hazel. Good evening, everybody at home. And welcome to the big one, as we've just described it. It is the World Championship preview, our big World Championship preview. And the first time, Tom, that we've done it as a video podcast, because over the last couple of years, of course, it's been an audio-only podcast. We made that move about a year ago to having this channel, which has been a huge success. But yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy the visual podcast of the preview of the World Championship. It's going to be an absolute cracker, Tom.
Yeah, well, we've already been up, me and Joe, watching the live draw on
the early
BBC
hours
Radio
of the
5
morning,
night.
you know.
It is, yeah. I mean, we watched Rob Walker. He was doing that air guitar on the webcam on Radio 5 Live.
Yeah. I was saying during the live stream, Tom, that's going to be us next year. We're going to be hosting the World Championship draw with John Parrott and Rob Walker. It was Mark Selby. Nobody betted that, did they? But he is the last person to get underway in the World Championship. So I guess it makes sense to have a player that's, not going to be playing anytime soon. But very good draw straight away.
Yeah, because they're all going to be about, aren't they? I suppose like they're all gearing up to it, because they start all the World Championship media day. I think that's tomorrow. So for the players, I guess they all kind of have to be in or around Sheffield fairly soon, don't they? So, but yeah, it does make sense to get Selby, to get him to do it. And he seemed a bit disappointed to get Ben Wollaston, even though I think actually he'd be like, oh no, that's a much easier draw than what he could have got.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Ben Wollaston there for the first time since 2013, I believe. We are going to fully preview the World Championship. We're going to talk about each match. We're also going to reveal who we think is going to win it. We're going to do it slightly differently this year. We discussed, because we don't know exactly if Ronnie's going to play, we might sort of do a if Ronnie plays, if Ronnie doesn't play, because it'll only change a couple of results here and there, I would imagine. But yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see whether he does play or not. But first, we are going to talk through our World Qualifier predictions. Obviously, we play this game every year, Tom, where we pick 16 qualifiers and we assign points depending on how far they get. So if they win their first round match, if they entered at round one, then they get 1 point. If they win their second round match, they win 2 points. If they win their third round match, they win 3. And obviously, if they qualify, they get the full 4 points. So it doesn't disadvantage players that start later on, because if Gary Wilson wins round 3, he will get 3 points for that. So, looking forward to getting into it, Tom. I just want to remind you of who you selected before we get into it. Okay, so Team Tom was Dominic Dale, Zhao Yulong, Zach Jurity, Robert Milkins, Tom Ford, Zhao Xintong, Liam Davis, Chris Wakelin, Stuart Bingham, Jamie Clark, Zhu Se, Wu Yiza, Dave Gilbert, David Lilly, Stephen Hallworth, and Alfie Burden. So, straight away, I can see there's some qualifiers in there. It will be interesting to see how many of your players actually won some matches to get you those extra points. My team, Gary Wilson, Ishpreet Singh, Zach Shurity, Graham Top. Tom Ford, Zhao Xin Tong. Eh?
Hold on, you picked Zach as well. I forgot that.
I did, yeah.
That shows how clever we are, mate. Do you know what I mean? Genius.
I know. Tom Ford, Zhao Xin Tong, David Grace, Chris Wakelin, Stu Bingham, Joe O'Connor, Jimmy White, Wu Yiza, Aaron Hill, Ken Doherty, Stan Moody, and He Gao Zhong. So, without further ado, Tom, let's get into it. Let's get into the scoring of it all. Would you like to go first or second for your scoring? Would you like to set the bar or know what you have to chase?
Oh, I will. I'll let you go first, Joe.
Okay, right. So Gary Wilson is my first pick. Now, Gary Wilson did win his third round qualifying match, but he did lose out in a decider in the fourth round. So he gets 3 points straight away. Ishpreet Singh won his second qualifying round match, but lost against Zhao Yulong. So he just gets the 2 points for winning his second round match. Zach Surety, of course, is one of our qualifiers, so he gets 4 points. We're not going to mention the next player. He gets 0. Tom Ford, he obviously lost his first round match, or third round match against Ross Muir. So he gets 0, just like the ranking points. Zhao Xing Tong, of course, qualified, so he gets 4 points. David Grace lost his first match, so he gets 0 points. Chris Wakelin, qualifier, 4 points there. Bingham, I believe he lost his first match. Yep, he lost to Michael Holt. What a shame. What a shame.
First time he's missed the Crucible for about 13 years, Bingham.
Yeah. Joe O'Connor, of course, one of our qualifiers, so he gets 4 points. Jimmy White did win his first match, 10-9. So he gets 1 point. And that could make all the difference, Tom. It could make all the difference.
I really hope it doesn't.
Wu Yiza, of course, qualified. 4 points for him. Aaron Hill got to the final round of qualifying. 3 points for him. Ken Doherty won his first match. He gets a point. Stan Moody, I believe, made it to the second last round, didn't he? So he got up to the third round of qualifying, so he gets 3 points. And then he gets 2 points. And then He Gao Shang, he gets 3 points because he went out in Judgment Day to Ali Carter. So, Tom, that gets me a grand total of 35 points, which is disappointing because last year I got 44. So I'm getting worse at this, apparently.
To be fair, I think you had a few players who lost on Judgment Day. You were unlucky that one of the players didn't even start qualifying for.
Yeah.
We're not going to go over that, just to make it clear, because, do you know what I mean? I think I did offer Joe a replacement, and he said no, that's who he chose, and so that's just the way it goes. But with all these things, there's so many players. You go, yeah, that was a decider, or that was a very close match. So I think you still did all right. You still picked a few.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, and it's going to be very similar for you. I think there's going to be lots of qualifiers in there, lots of people that didn't win a match. So, let's see. You've got 35 to beat, Tom. 35 to beat. So Dominic Dale is, of course, your first player, and he didn't win a match. Zhao Yulong is a qualifier, so he gets you the full 4 points, as does Zach Surety. Rob Milkins didn't win a match, so he unfortunately gets you 0 points. It feels like Eurovision, this, doesn't it? In many ways.
I would love Rob Milkins to do Eurovision.
Tom Ford gets you 0. Zhao Xintong gets you 4. Now, I don't know, did Liam Davis win his first round match? Yes, he did. He did win his first round match, so he gets 1 point for you. Lost out to Sanderson Lamb in the round of 128, I think, or 100. what is it? 112. Last 112 he lost.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, yeah.
There you go. Chris Wakelin gets you 4 points. Stuart Bingham gets you 0. Jamie Clark. Now, yes, he lost 10-8 to Alan Taylor, so he gets nothing, I'm afraid. Jus, let's have a little look at Jus. Again, he lost against Jamie Jones, so he gets you 0 as well. Wu Yizer is a qualifier, gets you the full 4. Dave Gilbert is a qualifier, gets you the full 4. Now, David Lilly is an interesting one because, of course, he beat Ken Doherty in round 2, so he gets 2 points. That could make all the difference here. Stephen Hallworth, I don't know if you know much about what happened in his match, but he was 9-0 down against Anthony Hamilton, brought it back to 9-8, and was 62 points up. And then Anthony Hamilton cleared up with 69 to win it 10-8. So,
bonkers, isn't it?
It is absolutely crazy. But he did win one match, so that is 1 point for him. And then we have got Alfie Burden, who didn't win a match. So, after listening to all of that, Tom, how do you think you did?
I think I did all right. I'm pretty pleased with how many qualifiers I picked, even though it feels like I even picked a lot of players who either qualified or did nothing. So I'm not too sure whether I've won or not.
So, just to remind, I got 35 points. I actually predicted 5 of the qualifiers correctly, which is terrible, by the way. Phil Seymour predicted 11. He predicted 11 correct. Yeah, that's why the 147 podcast is more popular, Tom. You actually predicted 6 qualifiers correctly. So you were the winner in that respect. However, as you say, Tom, you also had a lot of players that didn't win a match. In fact, you had 7 of those. I only had 4 of those.
Oh, this is horrible.
So I had 35, Tom. You did have another multiple of 7. But it was 28. I'm so sorry,
What?
Tom. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, a recount. What?
Yeah. Well, you got your 6 times 4, and then you only had points from Liam Davis, 2 from David Lilly, and 1 from Stephen Allworth. That's all you had.
Absolutely fuming.
So even without Jimmy White and Ken Doherty, I would have still beat you. And Graham Dott. But anyway, yeah.
I blame this all on Alfie Burden.
I think that is completely fair. To be honest, right, you were unlucky with, I think, Milkins, Ford, Bingham, all players that didn't win anything. And I guess it is slightly skewed by the fact that I did pick the likes of Stan Moody, who started earlier. Therefore, they were able to get more points because they won some of the early matches. But
played it tactically.
I didn't play it tactically, but there you go. That is that is the World Qualifiers game. And last year, Tom, you got 45. You beat me by 1 point. This year, you have been soundly beaten. But I think both of us, quite an embarrassing performance.
How have we got so much worse?
I don't know, because I feel like a year ago we would have been even sillier. But I think that was our downfall, is actually some of the players that have qualified have done nothing all season. So it's just one of them things, isn't it, I guess. But, well played, Tom. Well played. There's always next year. And of course, we've got our shootout contest. I think we'll do one for the UK Championship perhaps this year as well.
And
Q School, of course, yeah. Oh, Q School, it's chaos, isn't it? Oh, my word. Yeah, we've got a bit of dick pipe going on there. Looking forward to Dick Pipe making his annual appearance. And Dean Reynolds, of course. Don't forget Dean Reynolds.
Tony Knowles.
Tony Knowles, yeah. And possibly the likes of Anthony Hamilton this year. Well, just a quick talk on some of the players that are have dropped off the tour. We have, of course, Joe Perry, who has announced his retirement. We've got Dominic Dale, who hasn't dropped off the tour, but will be retiring. Anthony Hamilton has dropped off the tour. Marco Fu, unfortunately, number 67 in the world, very close, but no cigar. Ashley Carty's dropped off. Tian Peng Fei, which is, he's quite a consistent player to drop off. Stuart Carrington, David Grace has gone as well, 81st in the world. Sam Craigie, the Federer of the Bays, Alexander Erzenbacher, Andrew Higginson has dropped off again. Jimmy White, Martin Gould, of course, because he hasn't played at all this season, so still struggling medically, I think. But he has dropped off. Now, there is a few little scenarios here, Tom. Obviously, we're expecting Graham Dott to perhaps be took off the rankings at some point, depending on how things go with a court case. Chow Yu Peng hasn't played for a long time, so he may well hand back his card. He's 62nd in the rankings.
I don't know why they've not just taken it off him, because I know that I think Dechawat Poomjang didn't play for about 4 months, and they sort of rescinded his membership. So I don't know whether it's different because you pay.
Well, he's in the top 64, isn't he? I guess that's what's difficult, isn't it? So Chow Yu Peng potentially, and obviously Dominic Dale. So that opens up 3 spaces. That would allow Zach Surety to be in the top 64. Jamie Clark and Marco Fu would sneak into the top 64 and keep his money. So I would imagine, obviously, we had that thing a few years ago with the Chinese players being banned, and they had that thing where they extended it down to about 67, 68, which allowed Mark Davis to stay on tour. And to be fair, I mean, he's took full advantage. He's well safe within the rankings now. But we'll see. We'll watch this space on Tour Survival.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with World Snooker. No one knows what's going to happen for sure.
Yeah,
there's no sort of published contingency plan. It's just like that might happen or it might not. Which it's annoying for fans. It must be very annoying for players that literally, because I remember a few years ago, Mark Davis was talking about entering Q School, but then he stayed on anyway, and it felt like. I guess they wanted to leave it to the end of the season before saying that, so players, are playing on an even level. But I'd hope they extend it so those 3 stay on, especially because I think both Jamie Clark and Marco Fu were very high on the 1-year ranking list anyway.
Yeah.
I think
Zach Surety will stay on because he's only on the first year of a 2-year card, so he's very likely to get into the 64 anyway next season. So it kind of makes sense to me to allow it down to 67, allow Jamie Clark and Marco Fu to survive essentially, because they do. Marco Fu especially has done a lot for the game over the years, and Jamie Clark has been a fairly regular Crucible qualifier. I think possibly deserves it, but then where do you draw the line? I guess that's the issue, isn't it?
Well, I think those 2 especially, because as I said, I think Marco Fu only missed out on the 1-year ranking list because Liam Graham got to the final of the shootout. Do you know what I mean? And it would feel particularly unfair for a player of his caliber to basically drop off because someone did well in the shootout. I think,
which is why the shootout shouldn't be a ranking event ultimately.
Well, yeah. I mean, the shootout is why Yu Peng's still in the top 64, because again, he got to the final. If you took those points off, he'd be out of the 64.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about that a lot anyway when we get to our Q-School predictions. But the topic for today, Tom, don't know if you know, but there's a big tournament around the corner starting on Saturday. We have got the big one at the Cruce. It's going to be brutal. It is, of course, the World Championship, and there's 16 matches to preview here. We'll talk about each one in ingratiating detail. We're going to try and not get carried away. We want to keep this podcast not long over an hour, so you guys have a little look at the timestamp underneath and see how well we've kept to that, because we don't know yet. You guys are in the future. You know whether we kept to that or not. But anyway, let's start as we mean to go on. We have got the defending champion, Kyron Wilson, against Scottish Open champion, Lei Paifan. Starting us off, Saturday, 10 o'clock. Good morning, Hazel. Good morning, everybody at home. Will the Crucible curse be broken? And that's my question to you, Tom.
That was beautiful. I loved that. I felt like I was in the moment, and I was like, the players were about to shake hands, and Kyron was going to break off. And
there's that beautiful Crucible audience, and that little curtain comes down in between, so tight, in between those two tables.
I think Kyron has the best chance for a long time of in the Crucible curse. I think he's got a very good draw against Lei Paifan, because he's never played at the Crucible. Apart from winning his one ranking title, he's not done much. Like, I think most tournaments he'd be the kind of player who would get to the last 32 and then get beat. So I think it's quite a decent start for Kyron. He might have the Crucible curse nerves. Do you know what I mean? That might go into play. I don't think it's going to be a walkover. But I do think he'll be confident, and I think he will, be pretty happy with the draw.
And I think that's the main word for it, isn't it? He's confident, and he does have a lot of confidence in his game, and I think, as you say, he's going to come out of the blocks. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this, 10-2, 10-3. I think he's that confident at the moment. I think I'm very excited to see what he actually manages to pull off, and we could finally see the end of the Crucible curse, but more than likely somebody will beat him. Only one player can win the tournament at the end of the day. As you say, Kyron's got as good a chance as anybody, but we'll see. We will see how it goes. So go on then, Tom. You're backing Kyron Wilson. What score are you going to go for?
Oh, I think he'll. I'm going to go 10-5.
Wilson 10-5. I've gone 10-3 for that one. Okay. Yeah, I think he's got a very, very good chance. Okay, right, on to the next round. We have got World Championship runner-up last year, Jack Jones. World number 16, just snuck in the end. And he's taken on the one everybody is talking about, Zhao Xintong. Of course, playing as an amateur, third amateur to play at the Crucible. The only amateur to play at the Crucible that has previously won a Triple Crown event, Tom. And then we got Jack Jones.
Yeah, I mean it's good that Xintong's already got his tour card for next year, because otherwise he would also be probably on the 1 year ranking list, knocking someone down. So I feel he's, I don't know where he would be on the 1 year list. He's probably in the top 64 on the 1 year list from 2 tournaments. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not entirely sure. I think he only got 10,000 from the UK Championship. I don't think it was as much as you thought, because he went out in round 1, didn't he, to Murphy. So he didn't get as much money as you would have thought. And I think he's got 20,000 for qualifying for the Crucible. So it would have only took him to 30,000, which isn't enough, I don't think, on the 1 year list to to get into the 64. So.
But it would definitely on the 1 year list get him a tour card, which
Oh
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And this is a very intriguing match because on paper you'd go for Xing Tong, but then on paper you wouldn't have thought that Jack Jones would have got to the World Championship final.
Yeah, it's a real tough one because I think Jack Jones backed up his good performance last year. In 2023. He backed it up in 2024 by getting to the final. Now, can he do that again? I mean, Jack Jones has got a very, very tough route out of his section. You know, he'd have to beat Zhao Xingtong in the first round, probably Kyron Wilson in the last 16, and then one of Robertson or Mark Allen or Chris Wakelin or Fan Zhengyi in the quarterfinal. It looks very, very tough for Jack Jones to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'd be surprised if he even gets out the first round. I do think Xing Tong is absolutely flying, and he is. You know, if he was on tour, he'd be ranked higher than Jack Jones. He'd be top 5 probably. You know, based on where he was when he was 6th place when he dropped off because of the match fixing fiasco. So
yeah.
I do think that you know, I mean, he could have been even higher than 6th, considering how well he was playing and he was getting more experience. So I genuinely think that it's a rare case where the qualifier is the favourite and the amateur is the favourite. I mean, interestingly, I think you said that at one point, did you say Xing Tong was 6th favourite? I wonder whether that would have changed now that he's near Kyron Wilson, whether that was slightly of...
I think that the bookies are so clueless, Tom, that I'm not sure that will make a difference. But I will have a little look on Sky Bet. I do like to do my annual Crucible ACCA. So I will be doing that at some point. Zhao Xingtong is currently 7th favourite, 12-1. Judd Trump is the favourite. Mark Selby, 2nd favourite. Kyron Wilson, 3rd. Ronnie, 4th. Then John Higgins, Neil Robertson, and Zhao Xingtong. But to be fair, Higgins, Robertson, and Zhao are all 12-1. So he's in theory joint 4th favourite. Whereas at the other end of the spectrum, Daniel Wells, 200-1. He is the longest odds of anybody.
Even that's not bad odds.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Wakelin, 66-1. Zhang Anda, 50-1. Jack Jones, 50-1. You know, that's a huge odds. Mark Williams at 33s. Luca Brissell, 28. You know, Wu Yiza, 40-1. There's some real big prices for some players if you fancy a little flutter at the World Championship. There's some money to be made, I think, here for some people.
Mainly by say. They're probably going to do very well.
Yeah, I mean, as we say, it's very open this year, isn't it? But I have to push you for a decision, Tom. Who are you going to go for out of Zhao and Jack Jones?
I think it might be a bit closer than people think. I'm going to go Xing Tong, maybe 10-8.
10-8, okay. I've gone Zhao Xingtong 10-6. I think it's going to be.
What?
That's close, yeah. Okay, on to the next one, and possibly the tie of the round here, depending on if a certain somebody plays. Neil Robertson versus Chris Wakelin. Strictly Chris Wakelin, who is the world number 18. Just missed out, didn't he, on a place at the Crucible automatically. But he did qualify. He did what Neil Robertson didn't do last year. So Neil Robertson returning to the Crucible for the first time since 2023. How do you see this one going?
Well, Wakelin's never won a first round game at the Crucible, and Robertson, I feel like he's a player who either goes out in the first round or he does all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's someone who, when he gets into the late stages, he grows into it. So I think it's whoever wins will be feeling pretty happy. He'll be feeling all right. Chris Wakeling will be doing his dancing. You know what I mean? He'll be having a good time. But yeah, I mean, you have to make Robbo the favourite just because former world champion. He's won a ranking in the tournament this year. He's back in the 16, but you know, Wakeling he was very close to the top 16 as well. So I think that does make it a bit harder to pick because both players in decent form this year. I'd say both players are, you know, will be probably a bit disappointing to draw each other because
yeah,
I'm struggling to call this one, Joe.
I'll help you out there. I think if it gets close, I think Robertson is, you know, a comfortable winner. I'm not certain about Chris Wakeling's temperament as it gets close. Certainly at the Crucible, he's had a couple of close matches there. Notably a decider against Judd Trump a few years ago in the first round. I can't see Robertson losing this simply because I can't see Wakeling winning it comfortably, and I think that's the only way for Wakeling to win it. So I'm going to say Robertson 10-8 in this one.
I'm weighing up different options in my brain. I'm going to go for a career-defining Wakeling 10-9.
Ooh! First decider. Beautiful. Okay, right. Next, we have got Mark Allen versus Fan Zhengyi. Mark Allen, of course, a bit of a strange season for him. He's the number 8 seed. Started the season as world number 1. He's not had a great time of it, has he?
No, I mean, going from world number 1 to 8th it seems a bit bizarre, really.
Well, when Ronnie O'Sullivan has barely played and he's still above him, that says it all, really. Obviously, Mark had a very, very good season 2 years ago, which is where all the points have been coming off, isn't it? It's always the way with the rankings. Fan Zhengyi, obviously a former ranking event winner. Bit of a surprise to qualify, I think. Ridiculous to say, but Mark Allen is always an interesting player in round 1. I see him as one of the very vulnerable top 16 players of a bit like Robertson. If he gets into the tournament, he can grow into it, but I think he's very, very vulnerable early on.
I think he could be one to watch as a possible seed to get knocked out, but I don't think. I mean, it's a strange fan. It feels like he's turned up for one tournament in his career. Do you know what I mean? And
beat Ronnie in the final.
a bit very, very much like Jordan Brown. Do you know what I mean? He's had that
who
one
beat Ronnie in the final.
Exactly. You just kind of go, right. So you can play, but only once every 5 years or whatever it is, and so it's intriguing to see whether he'll kind of finally break through. Because I think a lot of players, when they first do well in a big tournament, that can help them get more consistent. But I don't.
I'm going to push you for an answer, Tom.
No, I don't see him beating Allen. I think Allen's going to win 10-6.
Okay. Well, interestingly, I have written down Fan Zhengyi 10-6. So there you go. I'm backing a shock there. In that one. That's where my accumulator is going to break down. 100%. Anyway, big one coming up now. Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Ali Carter. Now, first of all, if I had to push you for yes or no, will Ronnie play?
Yes.
Yes, I think he will as well. He's been on a few of the preview podcasts for the World Championship for TNT. He said he's been practicing for about 6 weeks, getting ready for it. I think his intention is to play. Now, whether mental health gets in the way, obviously that can't be avoided. But I think his intention is to play. I tell you what, it will be Ronnie mania if he does. People will go even more crazy than they normally do. Ali Carter, obviously tough player against him, but I think we were talking about this during the draw. This will mean Ronnie's up for it at the very least. He's not going to want to get beat by Ali Carter. That doesn't mean, though, Ali Carter's going to be equally up for it, isn't he?
Well, did you think you said you thought there was a chance he might not want to play Ali, so he might drop out for that reason?
He might do, yeah, because I think Ali Carter's well capable of beating him. And
also, Ali Carter will try and wind him up, and maybe he doesn't fancy that.
Yeah, I think it'll be very telling. If he does withdraw, I think that'll be a reasonable part of it, which is a shame. Let's go down the route of Ronnie does play. Do you think Ronnie will win?
Hard to say when he's not played for a while and he's broken his cue. I think it'll go one of two ways. Either Ronnie will be 6-3 down, he'll miss an easy pot, and he'll concede. Do you know what I mean? That kind of... We might see something like that again from Ronnie, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
Or he just finds something like 2013 and he blows him away. And so I'm going to go Ronnie will win. I'm going to go he'll win. I'm going to go he'll win 10-5.
Ooh, that is a bold prediction. I tend to agree with you, though. I think if Ronnie turns up focused, so much of the talk is going to be about him. I think Ali will get a little bit miffed about that. I don't think Ali's playing that well either. It's not as if Ali's in the form of his life. So I think if Ronnie turns up focused, and I think that's the only way he can turn up. If he does turn up, it's going to be because he wants to win. It's not going to be to just make up the numbers. So I tend to agree. I'm going to go Ronnie 10-7 though, rather than 10-5. I think it'll be quite close, 7-all, possibly, and then Ronnie will kick on. But as you say, that first session, to be honest, that first 4 frames, I think, is really important. If Ronnie comes out of that 3-1, 4-0 down, he might not come back out. I think we've got to be aware of that. And I'd make a bit of a claim that if something bad happens in terms of Ronnie conceding early, it might end up being Ronnie's last match as a professional.
I don't think so. I don't think he'll. He's someone who was, he's still in the top 3. Yeah.
It's not because he's not good enough. I just think if Ronnie has spent this much time out, then comes back and sort of blows it, if you like, I just feel like he might just try and avoid it forever after that. But I don't know. It's an interesting one.
The one thing is, however it goes, he'll get another few months off.
Yeah. True.
So
very true.
Maybe he might come back rejuvenated. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll try and speed up for the next couple of matches. I don't think we'll have that much to say about them. Zhang Anda versus Pang Jung-soo. Obviously Zhang, well-established top 16 player now. Was one of the seeds to lose last year. Lost to Jack Jones in the first round. How do you see this one going?
Well, I think Pang's a very good up-and-coming player, and I think he has a good chance at doing quite well. Definitely in the future, he's gonna, he'll be one of those you think he's gonna get a ranking title at some point. And and there is top 16, but they needed to go out. I just think it's quite close. It'd be quite tricky to call. Could go either way. I'm going to go Zhang to win 10-8.
Okay. I'm going to go Pang, actually. Pang 10-6 is what I'm going to go for, which would, of course, have been Jimmy White had he qualified. Anyway.
Why, mate? The guy he was playing against in the first round wasn't even born when Jimmy last played at the Crucible.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Anyway, C. Jawi against David Gilbert. Interesting matchup this, because C, I think, established top 16, decent Crucible player, as he's proved over the last few years, but Dave Gilbert, perennial semi-finalist at the Crucible. This could be close, this one. I'm just gonna lay me cards out, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be C 10-9.
I'm gonna go Gilbert 10-7.
Gilbert 10-7. Wow, could be another run at the Crucible for him. Who knows?
I'd like him to do well. He's a very likeable lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah. Bringing us to the last match of this half of the draw, and the match that I will see the conclusion of on Thursday, Mark Selby versus Ben Wollaston. Now, Mark Selby's had a very quietly good season. He's won 3 tournaments, I think. Got the final of the Tour Championship. Playing very well again, I think, Mark Selby. Weirdly, his safety game is what's letting him down. His scoring is very heavy. And he'll look at this quarter of the draw and think he's got a decent chance of reaching the semi-final if he gets through this first round match. So, yeah, what do you reckon?
I think him and Higgins will be licking their lips, Joe, I think.
Oh, I say it, Tom. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning as we're recording this. Yeah, that's snooker extra territory, that.
So yeah, I think Selby will be pretty happy with the draw. I think we'd all be a bit stunned if Wollaston pulled up any trees and managed to get through. I do think that not a bad player, Wollaston, but he's very much of the mid-table kind of snooker player. He's someone who's always been around. Hey, the 30s and the 40s.
Journeyman, I think is
yeah. Absolutely. So I do think Selby will win, and I think it could be like 10-4. I don't think it'll be close.
I've gone Selby 10-3. I do think if it is close, it will be a late one. That neither of them are known for their speed around the table. It could easily, if it goes close, which it can do. Ben Wollaston would have to play his best. Mark Selby would have to be somewhere off his best, I think, for it to go really close. And you never know. There's always a shock at the Crucible. Ben Wollaston could easily win the match. You just can't say it, because I think it's such a good opportunity this year for Mark Selby to go and get his 5th world title. I think he is going to be bang up for it. He's going to be very tough to beat. So, that brings us to the first half of the draw done, Tom. I wondered if you wanted to take a little break and do one of our special segments.
Oh, yes, please. Always.
Shall we cue the laughter, Tom?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so at the halfway point of this podcast, we are going to do cue the laughter. Now, you might remember last time, Tom, we played a little game, and it was called Who's Here? So I have put up the how many 12 players that we've got. I don't know if you've got access to who's here, Tom. The little picture.
There it is. Yep.
So I'll just remind you of who we went for last time. So this was sent in by one of our big supporters, Banksy, who put this together, and we suggested that he should really pitch this to World Snooker because it is absolutely brilliant. Now, Banksy has sent me the answers, Tom, so we will be able to mark our work and see how many points we got. But we started off with the first one, so you can see it's Luca Brissell there with some hair. And Tom, you said that was Rob Walker. Do you stick with Rob Walker?
I thought it was either Rob Walker or Ronnie from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I went for Tom Ford for that one.
With Rob Walker,
You're going to stick with Rob Walker.
Yeah.
You don't get the option to change anyway, because for all I know, you could have checked the answers. Gary Wilson.
How am I going to have checked the answers?
Well,
anyway?
you've got access to the email as well. The next one, Gary Wilson. So this was all based on bald snooker players having hair, wacky hairstyles from other players. We both went Steve Davis on this one. I can't remember who else I said it could be. I think we thought maybe he'd changed the colour of the hair. Possibly. It could be Ben Wollaston. He's ginger, isn't he? So, See Stuart Bingham there. You've gone for Alex Higgins. I went for Terry Griffiths on that one.
Yeah.
Very close, I think. It's definitely going to be one of them, I would suggest. Paul Hunter, we went for number 4 for Elliot Slesser there. Judd Trump, you went for E, which is on Chris Wakeland's head. I went for Liam Highfield on that one.
I think you might be right.
We both went Tony Knowles on Peter Ebden for F. We both went for Ronnie for G. And then double Robbo. So Robbo for H and I. Then Dominic Dale for J. Ray Reardon for K. And Jimmy White for L. So, Tom, answer time. Okay. I am going to send you the answers as well so that you can see them. Let's, whoops. It's all going wrong, Tom. All going wrong. There you go. There's the answers. Sending you them now. And I'm going to display them on screen. So, A, the answer was Wu Yiza. Wu Yiza for A. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? So we both got that wrong. Terry Griffiths for number 2. Interesting. So I was in the right ballpark with that. But we both said Davis, so we've got 0 out of 2 so far, Tom.
Has he changed the hair colour? Has he made him more ginger? No, I don't know.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
It's lighting.
Alex Higgins, you got for C, so you're 1-0 up. I went for Terry there. We both said Paul Hunter. That is Judd Trump and not Liam Highfield, so you win again. Stephen Hendry for F instead of Tony Knowles. Who would have known that? Ronnie, as we suspected, and double Robbo. Those are both correct, or all correct. Dominic Dale, Ray Reardon, and Jimmy White. All of them are correct. So, Tom, you didn't win the World Qualifiers game, but you have won the first ever running of Who's Hair by 2 points. Well done.
Yes,
well done,
this is
Tom.
the one that matters, Joe. This is the big one. It's right here.
But yeah, thank you very much to Banksy for sending those across. That was absolutely brilliant. If there's any more, please do send them, because we would love to make that a regular segment of our podcast, even if it's just one player every time.
I can't believe it was Hendry.
Cue the hair. Cue the hair. Yes, I know. Cue bald. It could be. We could call it cue bald. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Right. So anyway, thank you very much for that, Banksy. And yeah, we will get back on with the second half of the draw, Tom. So it's going well so far. We are now on to John Higgins versus Joe O'Connor. So that is a pretty tough one to call. Obviously, a rerun of the World Open final, which John Higgins managed to win in the end. Joe O'Connor, of course, beating Maximum Man, Jackson Page, who got 2 1-4-7s in a match earlier in the qualifying. He beat him 10-7, quite convincingly in the end. Joe O'Connor was really good. I watched quite a bit of that match. How do you see this one going?
Well, John Higgins is really... He dropped out the top 16 for like a week, and then he's found this incredible form where, you know, I think he's back in the top 8 or something. He's right up there.
I think
now,
he's world number 3, Tom.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's gone up to world number 3 after winning the Tour Championship. Yeah.
Oh, of course he won. Oh my God! I mean that's insane. Though, do you know what I mean? He's up there, and I do think he's going to be, as I said, looking at this part of the draw, and you know, well, I think Willow as well. I think both of them will be eyeing up potential semi-final place. And I feel like Joe O'Connor's not a walkover, but at the Crucible, I just think Higgins, long format matches, I just think he'll win maybe 10-6.
Yeah, I've gone Higgins 10-8. There is another curse to talk of, and it is the Tour Championship curse, Tom. Nobody that has ever reached the final of the Tour Championship has ever won the World Championship after it. Now, obviously, it's only ran since 2019. It's not a big data set, but it is an interesting one that you would think the player most in form winning the tournament before the World Championship has never even got to the final. So it's an interesting one. So Higgins is fighting that curse, so is Selby. But I would say they're two of the favourites for the whole tournament, actually.
Well, I think the draw's been kind to them as well. Because...
Well, don't forget Joe O'Connor beat Mark Selby in the first round last year, so, you know, it's he's got form for it. I do just think Higgins is going to have that extra bit of determination this year to do really well. I think he's going to see it as probably his last big chance, maybe, of winning the Worlds. You know, he's back in form. When is he going to see that form again? You know, I'd say it is going to be a big chance for him. Speaking of big chances, next match we've got Zhao Guodong and Matthew Selt. Now, this is going to be on the other side of the arena, the second round match, between the winners of these two matches when I go and see Mark Selby. So I've got a bit of an interest in this one. So Zhao Guodong is one of those players that has either done really well in tournaments or has not been seen. But he has got to multiple semi-finals this season. Matthew Selt, of course, has been a very controversial character this season. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to have a lot of fans in this match. But, again, I think it's going to be a draw that both players are happy with.
Yeah, well, Zhao Guodong, well, he has had a very, I'd say, similar season to what Zhang Anda had last year, in that they were both players who were, you know, sort of in their 30s, kind of felt a bit like, you know, not quite journeyman. I think Zhao was always a bit better than that. He has reached ranking finals, but, you know, he hadn't ever sort of troubled the top 16. But this year, he's really stepped up, got his first ranking title. He's in the top 16, and I feel like there'll be pressure on him because he probably knows. I don't know whether players do think like this, but maybe he would be like, well, if I want to stay in the top 16 for the Masters, etc., I need to not leave with no ranking points. So maybe that kind of comes into your head a bit as a seed. You have the pressure of being a seed and the ranking point situation. But Celts, he's a journeyman as well. Do you know what I mean? He's one of those who you don't ever expect him to go far in a tournament. No disrespect to that. So, and I do fancy Zhao for this though, just because his season's been brilliant, and I think he'll win maybe 10-7.
Yeah, I've gone exactly the same actually. Zhao 10-7.
But it'll be scrappy,
it could be a long one, couldn't it? But yeah, I just don't actually think Matt Selt is good enough to go far in the World Championship. Personally,
he's not proven you wrong so far. So to be fair, he's not had a big run at the Crucible, has he? So.
But now I've said that, he'll probably reach the final. So yeah.
And you imagine if Matt Selt and Jack Jones are in the final or something like that, you'd just be like, what?
Oh God. Right. Anyway, moving on to the next round, we'll move quite swiftly on. Barry Hawkins versus Hossein Vafai. We talked about this during our live reaction. This could be an absolute cracker. There could be. I think there'll be the most amount of centuries in this first round match compared to any other. That's my little bold prediction there. Barry Hawkins has been playing awesome. He was incredible at the Tour Championship. Hossein Vafai maybe not had a great season, but has qualified for the Crucible. I'm going to go straight off the bat. I'm going to go Barry Hawkins 10-6 for this.
I'm going to go because I think Hawkins has been incredible. He's been so good. But I wonder whether it'll be a case of someone who has peaked a bit too early before the
possibly.
Crucible.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether I'm going to go Hossein to win 10-5.
Wow, that is a bold one. Because Hawkins has got a great Crucible record as well. So,
and I think Hawkins is better than a 10-5, but I just feel like it's going to be a surprise and it's going to.
Okay, fair enough. Next, we have got another, or the final member of the class of 92, Mark Williams, having his eyesight troubles. He is taking on Wu Yize, who is well fancied to be a world champion over the next few years. Lots of people rate Wu Yize very, very highly. Of course, beat Matthew Stevens in a decider to qualify. So, yeah, I mean, how amazing would that have been? Mark Williams versus Matthew Stevens. It would have been a repeat of the 2000 World Championship final. Had that happened.
That would have been good.
25 years since that happened. Mark Williams, interesting character.
Come on, it wasn't. It was last year. It was last year, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm actually going to back Wu Yize in this one, which is probably a bit of a shock, but I think Mark Williams is really struggling at the minute. I'm going to go 10-6 for Wu Yize. I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see Mark Williams do well.
I'm just aware that I backed Willow last year, and I think he went out in the first round. So I'm just trying to, in my head, work out.
He was playing Si Xiaowei last year, so a very similar matchup.
Yeah, so I'm just in my head trying to work out whether that makes it more likely or less likely. But I'm gonna back Willow. I think he's had pretty strong season. Do you know what I mean? He was saying, I just want to be in the top 16. By the time I'm 50, he's comfortably in the top 10. Do you know what I mean? So I think Willow will win. I think it'll be close. Maybe a 10-8.
10-8, okay. Right, on to our final 4 matches, the final quarter. We have got Luca Brissell, who of course could drop to 50 in the world if he loses this match after being world champion 2 years ago. Or Ryan Day, of course the Welshman, back for another Crucible appearance. Always tends to qualify for it. This is going to be a no safety play match, isn't it? This one. This is just going to be all guns blazing. It's probably going to be quite exciting. There's going to be a lot of misses, probably a lot of century breaks. I think this could be a bit of a dark horse for tie of the round as well. And I think it's going to go close, but I'm going to back Ryan Day to win 10-9.
It's tricky to call. It's really tricky. I think they'll both be happy to have drawn each other, to be honest, because they suit each other's play, and they're both probably fairly actually similar on the season 1 year list. Really, I'd imagine. So, but I'm gonna go Brian Day as well.
Oh.
10-7.
10-7. Okay. Right, on to the next round match. We have got Ding Junhui, who's returned to quite a bit of form this season, against Zach Surety, who, of course, got the semi-final of the World Open, lost in a decider against eventual champion John Higgins, and has comfortably qualified for the World Championship. He is a Crucible debutant. Will be interesting to see how he gets on. Just before that, though, Ding Junhui, there is a curse hanging over him since the Welsh Open 2024.
How many curses are there now?
Since the Welsh Open 2024, whoever beats Ding Junhui loses in the next round. That is a genuine thing. That is a genuine thing.
Are you saying that Ding has got like voodoo powers?
I've no idea, but yeah, they were talking about it at the Tour Championship because Selby
get a little old voodoo doll and stick a pin in it.
Selby beat Ding in the semi-final, and they'd mentioned that whoever beats Ding hadn't won the next match since the Welsh Open 2024. So for over a year, that has been a thing. Whoever beats Ding loses in the next round.
What bizarre stat that is. Okay.
Well, that's what you get round here, Tom. That's what you get round here. Speaking of which, I'm going to back another shock here. I'm going to go for Surety, 10-7. Just because I always think there's a bit of a shock. I think Ding is another one of those players that's very vulnerable in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, so who are the debutants this year? It's Lipe Fan, Zach Surety, Daniel Wells, and I think I would definitely say Zach's got the best chance of getting a win as a debutant, looking at the draw. And I do like Ding, do you know what I mean? I do rate him, and I feel when he plays well, he's brilliant. But I would also like to see Zach do well, because he just seems like a player who's found a bit of form and seems to be playing his way up the rankings, based on...
He's on his first year of a tour card, and he's 65 in the world. So if he has another season like that, he's going to be, in the top 40 more than likely. So that's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna back Zach Surety to win 10-8.
10-8, which means, unfortunately for Zach, he will lose in the next round due to the Ding curse. Which means for both of us, Tom, Ryan Day is getting to the quarterfinal by the looks of that. Which he's got form of doing. He's reached the quarterfinal on a number of occasions. Right, penultimate round of match of the round. We have got Sean Murphy against Daniel Wells. Of course, Crucible debutant in Daniel Wells. Sean Murphy, the Masters champion. I'm just going to go out there and say Murphy's going to win this very comfortably, 10-4. And I think he's a real contender to win the championship this year.
Yeah, I can't see past Murphy, which is a shame. Because it does feel like I've not predicted that many shocks or that many qualifiers to do well. to be honest. But I just,
it is worth mentioning, by the way, that the average rank of the qualifiers this year is 41. So it is a significantly weaker qualifying field than last year, where the average rank was 30. So.
I'm gonna go. It has to be Murphy, and I think it will be slightly closer maybe than you thought, but I think it will be a 10-5, 10-6, 10-6. I'm gonna go
10-6. Okay. And that brings us to our final first round match. That is Judd Trump, the world number one, the dominant force apparently in snooker at the minute, against Zhao Yulong. And I think, actually, not a bad draw for Zhao Yulong to get. I think, again, Judd Trump is vulnerable in round one. He's one of those players that needs to get going a little bit. And I can see by your smile, Tom, that you're already thinking of being a little bit out of the box here.
Zhao Yulong 10-0.
All right, I'm writing it.
No, not 10-0. Actually, I'd go Yulong, and I'd go maybe 10-7.
10-7. You know what? For the first time in my life, I'm going to back Judd Trump in this one.
What's happened to you?
I know. I'm hoping a bit of reverse psychology might go on here. I think Judd is going to win 10-6, but I really hope Zhao can do it for obvious reasons. I do think if Judd wins his first round match, I think he's not guaranteed, but he's going to be very close to semi-final at the very least. It could be Judd's year. I do fear it could be Judd's year.
Yeah, I think the second half of the draw is very open.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the top half is stacked, isn't it? You've got Wilson, Robertson, Allen, Ronnie O'Sullivan, even Ali Carter could have a run at it. Dave Gilbert, Crucible specialist, Mark Selby. Only one of them is going to reach the final, and that's without mentioning Zhao Xingtong. So, yeah, crazy. So, just to reiterate our round one predictions, I've gone for Kyron Wilson, Zhao Xintong, Neil Robertson, Fan Zhengyi, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Pang Jung-soo, Si Jiawei, Selby, Higgins, Zhao Gudong, Barry Hawkins, Wu Yiza, Ryan Day, Zach Surety, Sean Murphy, and Judd Trump. Tom, you have gone for Kyron Wilson, Zhao Xintong, Chris Wakelin, Mark Allen, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Zhang Ande, Dave Gilbert, Selby, Higgins, Zhao Gudong, Hossein Vafai, Mark Williams, Ryan Day, Zach Surety, Sean Murphy, and Zhao Yulong. So actually, out of everything, you've gone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 qualifiers out of the 16. So you were worried you hadn't gone for enough shocks, but I think you've outdone yourself there. So we're now up to the point, Tom, where I just need a one-word response from you, and we're going to see who wins the World Championship from your predictions, okay? And mine, I guess, as we go along. So, we'll start with you. Wilson or Zhao?
Oh, God, this is the hardest of a lot, but Wilson.
Wilson. I agree. Wilson on that one. Wakelin or Allen?
Wakelin.
Crucible quarter-finalist for the first time. For me, that is going to be Robbo versus Fan. I'm going to go for Robertson. I think he's going to have a good tournament. Ronnie or Zhang?
Ronnie.
I've got Ronnie or Pang. Oof. I'm going to go Ronnie as well.
Zhang or Pang. That could be a game.
Zhang or Pang, yeah. Gilbert or Selby?
Selby.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone Selby over C. Higgins or Zhao Gudong?
Zhao.
Ooh. I'm going to go Higgins for that. Hossein Vafai or Mark Williams?
Mark Williams.
I'm going to go... so it's Barry Hawkins or Wu Yiza. I'm going to go Wu Yiza to have a bit of a breakout tournament. Bit of a risk there. So for both of us, Ryan Day or Zach Surety?
Zach Surety.
Nice one. I'm going to go for Ryan Day because I believe in the Ding curse.
Well, and you know what? I know people will go, "Oh, do you really think 2 debutants are going to do that well?" But I'm very mindful of just a couple of years ago where C and Jack Jones both did very well, and so it can happen. And I just feel like they're in form. Some of these qualifiers. So yeah, if they can get through their first round, we'll see.
And finally for you, Sean Murphy versus Zhao Yulong.
Go on, Murphy.
I've got Murphy or Trump. I think Trump. I think he's won his last 11 matches against Sean Murphy. So I think that's how it's going to go. Right, okay.
I don't like to go back in Trump. It makes me sad.
Into the quarterfinals. So you've got Wilson versus Wakelin.
That could be a romance novel or something. I'm going to go for strictly Kyron Wilson.
Okay, I was worried there for a second. I've got Wilson versus Robertson in the quarterfinal. I'm going to go Wilson as well. I do think he's going to go far. We've both gone for Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Selby quarterfinal. Selby, I agree. I don't think Ronnie can beat Selby over 25 frames when he's not played. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it can go either way,
but yeah. Zhao Gudong or Mark Williams?
Mark Williams.
Okay. I've got Higgins or Wu Yiza. I'm gonna go for. Oh, this is a bold prediction. I'm so tempted to go Wu, but I'm gonna stick with my instincts of Higgins, because Wu Yiza could well just not make it out of the first round. So I've got to hedge me bet somewhat. Okay, final quarterfinal. Zach Surety versus Sean Murphy.
Zach Surety.
Oh, look at this. Right, I've got Ryan Day versus Judd Trump. Unfortunately, Ryan Day will not have enough over the best of 25, so I've gone for Trump victory into the semi-final. Okay, right. Semi-final one, we've both gone for Kyron Wilson versus Mark Selby.
I think it'll be the Crucible Curse, and Mark Selby will win that match.
Selby will win that. I'm going to go Kyron Wilson.
Wow.
think Kyron's going to make it all the way to the final.
All right, Joe Johnson, number 2. God. Is he the last person to do it? Did he get to the final the year after?
Ken Doherty,
Ken did it as well.
1998, yeah. And Mark Williams made it to the final in 1999 and 2000, but obviously didn't win it in 99. So, Higgins versus Trump for me. Williams versus Surety for you.
How have I done that? Oh, God. Okay, fine.
I'm not sure there's going to be any prizes for guessing who's going to win this Crucible contest. Although, to be fair, some of my choices are a bit out there as well.
Well, like I say this every year, right? But if it's right, I look like a genius. But it never is. But I mean, yeah, I'm going to go Williams.
Williams, okay. So I've got Higgins versus Trump, repeat of the 2019 World Final. I'm going to go Trump, and simply because I would love to see a World Championship final with Kyron Wilson and Judd Trump, with a Crucible curse on the line.
Yeah, it does feel like it would be.
It feels like it would sum up the season as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right, your final is a battle of the marks. Mark Selby versus Mark Williams. Give us a score as well.
Oh no, do I have to? Tell you what, you go first.
I'll go first. Right. So, Wilson versus Trump. If it is close, Wilson wins it every time. I don't think Trump's got good bottle when it gets close. I think Wilson wins. If it goes, 18-17, 18-16. But I have this awful feeling that it is Judd Trump's year. So I'm going to go... I can't bring myself to say it, Tom. I can't. I'm going Kyron to break the Crucible curse, just because I cannot bring myself to back Judd Trump, even though my head is screaming Judd Trump 18-12. I'm gonna go Kyron, which is a stupid idea because he's not going to break the Crucible curse. You're going to be right. It is going to be Selby. I don't know who you're going to back.
No, I'm gonna go Selby 18-15.
Selby 18-15. I am gonna go Kyron 18-17. There we go.
Would it be a black ball finish?
What, 40 years after? I mean, it could be. It very much could be.
I imagine if Dennis was on commentary going, 40 years from the black ball final, and here we are again.
Yeah, because he speaks like that, doesn't he? Here we are again, Hazel. 40 years. When I was doing this, Hazel, you were just in your cot. So, there we go. There you have it. I mean, I have to say, I didn't go into this thinking I would predict Kyron Wilson to be the winner. And I don't think you went into it thinking Selby was going to play Mark Williams in the final. But I think it's amazing how the draw can pan out with certain results going certain ways. Now, there is one other thing we have to talk about, and that is the eventuality where Ronnie does pull out and Carter makes it through to round 2. Do you think he would beat Zhang Anda? No, so Zhang will go through. Do you think Zhang will beat Selby?
No.
So if, once it gets to the quarterfinals, Selby goes on anyway. I would have Carter versus Pang. I think Carter beats Pang, but Selby beats Carter in the quarterfinals. So that's our... We both are backing Selby to win that quarter no matter what, really. So it kind of doesn't matter if Ronnie... plays or not for the purpose of our predictions. That's where we're at. So let us know what your predictions are down in the comments section, or you can email us at snookerloopypodcast@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at snookerloopypod. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks. I've backed Kyron Wilson to break the Crucible curse. You've backed Mark Selby to win his 5th world title. I think either of those are pretty likely scenarios, actually, but it'll probably be something else that happens. Ronnie could win his 8th. Mark Williams could make a miraculous comeback. Sean Murphy could win 20 years after his first title. You never know. Jimmy White might end up replacing Ronnie O'Sullivan if Ronnie comes out of it, and Ronnie might end up Sorry, Jimmy might end up getting his first world title. You never know. You never know with these things.
I mean, that is a bold prediction there by Joe.
Well, there you go. Let us know all of your predictions down below. As I say, I will be doing an accumulator, £1 accumulator on all of the 16 first round matches. So the predictions that we've just said, I will be putting in a £1 accumulator. I think the best I've ever done, Tom, was about 13 matches out of the 16. That's the best I've ever done. We will see this year. I think it's going to be, as we say, very open. How many century breaks do you think there's going to be?
Well, I know there was a record amount in the qualifiers this year. So you presume that it would be a bumper year in terms of Crucible centuries. But then there weren't that many last year. So maybe I'll go 103.
Ooh, you're going for a century of centuries. Will Judd Trump get his century of centuries?
Yes, sadly.
Even though Zhao's going to beat him in the first round?
Yeah.
I think he'd have to get 8 centuries. I think he's on 92. I think it's that close. I'm not entirely sure though. Yeah, I'm going to go for 87 centuries. I will make a note of that on our little predictions. Just as something else a little bit fun to do. 87 centuries. I think there will be a 147 as well. And I think it could well be somebody like Ronnie that gets it, so a bit of a surprise. But yeah, there you go. So that is our World Championship preview. We have got our final segment to do, which is cue the music. But before that, a bit of fan Zheng email. Okay. So if you do want to get in touch, you can message us snookerloopypodcast@gmail.com. So we have had a message from Archie Smith, and he says, "Dear both, hope you are well. Just watched your World Championship qualifying predictions and absolutely loved it. In particular, Banksy's Whose Hair feature for Cue the Laughter. It was an absolute cracker. We very much agree with that. I've also got a couple more things from me to share. The first one being a Cue the Music. He's not going to tell us what it is, but we are going to listen to that in a little bit. And he has got something for Cue the Laughter down the line, so we are going to have a look at that throughout the World Championship. I am really looking forward to the World Championship and cannot wait for the next podcast. I hope you will enjoy what I've found this time. So there you go. Archie Smith, thank you very much for that. Banksy got in touch again with his answers. He said, "Glad you enjoyed the hair quiz. It was great fun watching you try and figure out the answers. Well done for getting most of them right, but it's not about the scores. The fun bit is just seeing them all with mad hairstyles." I agree. Yep. For our new cue-balled fixture. His favourites are Gary Wilson looking extra suave, Stu Bingham looking like a teenager, and Chris Wakelin looking like a grumpy aging member of an indie band that never made it. Also, you're absolutely right that Hossein looks totally perfect with Jimmy White's 90s hair. As you correctly spotted, there was a slight colour wash over everything, which combined with the lighting in some of the pics to make a few of the hairstyles look a bit redder than they would usually appear. Sorry about that. No, it's absolutely fine. P.S. Popping up to the Crucible to see a session on Wednesday, the 23rd of April, so we'll be milling about on 23rd, 24th. Great to say hi over a pint in the unlikely event that either of you are there then. Well, I will be there at some point on the 24th. I've got the evening session, so if you're still hanging about after the Ben Wollaston Selby midnight masterclass, do hit me up. But I can't imagine that you will be. But yeah, if you see me about, Banksy, do say hi. It'd be great to see you. And we can put a face to the name and all of that. Anyway, We also have somebody from New York that has got in contact.
New York!
Elise Friend. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. So they say, good evening. My name is Bernie Friend. There we go. Bernie Friend. Back in the year 2002, I was the #1 ranked 8-ball player in New York. I'm one of the rare pool players that watches and knows snooker here from the States. I'm excited about the World Championships upon us, and I think it's going to be great. It would be fabulous if you can pipe me in from an American's point of view. Absolutely. We want to have guests on the podcast. Yes, we will absolutely hit you up with that. That will be fascinating. We'll probably do that for one of our summer podcasts. I think we want to line up a few guests for the summer to try and tide us along this year while there's not any snooker on the telly. But that's our Fanzheng email. Thank you very much for that. We've had a few comments on the videos as well. We've got Mr. Dog, 4529. He said he was part of a small but vibrant Twitch community of grateful snooker fans. Now it's all gone, all channels nuked, everyone scattered to the winds, and I don't have the money or inclination to scale a paywall just for snooker. So I think that's in relation to when we talked about the TNT stuff going over. We had one from TN12 Gaffer. Great podcast as always, guys. Excited for the Crucible daily roundups. Of course, we will be getting involved in that this year. We've got Colin Quish, 4802. He backed Gary Wilson, Yuan Si Jun, Jack Lasowski, Robert Milkins, Tom Ford, Zhao Xing he got one of them. Ryan Day, Chris Wakelin. 3 there. Joe O'Connor, 4. Pang, 5. Wu Yiza, 6. Gilbert, 7. He went for Maguire, Robertson, and Carter, 8. So well done to Colin Quish, who got 8 of the qualifiers. Very, very good. Somebody said, isn't that just Boris Johnson in Image 8 for the Who's Hair? Image H, that is. Matthew Wassell says, great pod as usual. Love the longer episodes. Colin Quish talking about Aaron Hill. He blew it. I agree. Yeah. I really thought I was in there with Aaron Hill, but didn't quite work out. And JJ Snooker Channel says, do you think Selby can win it this year? I think he has a great chance. I think we both think that Selby's got a good chance this year. And Tom has backed him to win. But with all of that being said, Tom, we have got cue the music. So, Archie Smith sent this in, of course, and I have sent you the link. And
I have this here.
It is called Georgie Fame, The Hurricane. Now, I know nothing about this song. I don't know if you've ever heard it, Tom. I know you are into your niche snooker songs.
I haven't heard it. It's from 1982, apparently.
Okay, so we'll give it a listen, and then if you are new around here, we give it a score out of 10. We've got a big league table of nearly 50 songs, snooker-related, that this will fit into. So this is called The Hurricane. Let's give it a listen.
Everybody knows Bill was shooting when he gets into town. Cause everywhere he goes, trouble always seems to follow him around. His reputation's that of the fastest gun. Across the nation, the Cubans to take him on. This is game, rolling fame. And his name is the Hurricane. And they call him the Hurricane. Breaking at the table, you can see the tension line in his face. 635. This is game, born in fame, and his name is the Hurricane. Packing balls, potting balls, and they call him the Hurricane. Hot shot. This is game, born in fame, and his name is the Hurricane. Packing balls, potting balls, and they call him the Hurricane. Put your money on the table if you think you win with a shot. By the time the hurricane is through, you're gonna wish you had not. Half the nation's queuing to take him on. His reputation's that of the fastest gun. Taking chances in order to stay alive. Before you know it, he's 135. Concentration's got him to number one. Across the nation, the popular champion. Hey, this is game, born in fame, and his name is the Hurricane. Packing balls, potting balls, and they call him the Hurricane. It's his game, born in fame, and his name is a Hurricane. Packing balls, potting balls, and they call him the Hurricane. Hot shot.
Well, there you go, Tom. There you go. Thank you very much, Archie, for submitting this week's Cue the Music. That was The Hurricane by Georgie Fame. Okay, so, well, first impressions, Tom. Very, very upbeat. Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are. You might still be muted, by the way, Tom. Just to warn you.
I should be back. Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you are. Yeah, I just wanted to check. But yeah, I mean, I actually really liked that. The one thing I would say about it is that it was perhaps a bit repetitive. That's the only thing I can say about it. And the music video should have had pictures of Alex Higgins on it. More than likely should have had that. But
I did feel like it could have been a minute shorter.
Yeah,
I think maybe.
Well, also the first minute of the video is just silence as they're trying to get the record player to work. So,
well, that was the best bit, mate. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
I just was watching it and I heard Joe go, "Oh, this is a bit creepy." I was like, "Yeah, it's a bit."
I'm going to be quite bold with this, and I'm going to give it 6.5 is what I'm going to give it.
I enjoyed it. We were both sort of bobbing along and dancing along. We had a nice time. I thought it was catchy. It felt like a real it felt more like a 60s song, you know. Actually,
it did. It sounded a bit Elvis-y, didn't it? You know.
Yeah, very, very kind of inspired by that era.
Rock and roll. Uh-huh.
Oh, no. Alex Higgins. Alex
Higgins.
Go on, Hurricane.
Yeah. It's actually another Alex Higgins inspired song, which going into Cue the Music as a concept, I don't think we'd have realised that there's been nearly 10 Alex Higgins referenced songs in some way.
That's crazy, isn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give it a do you know, I'll give it a 6. I think I enjoyed it.
6.
It was just maybe slightly too long, but it was good fun.
Yeah, so that gives it an overall score of 6.25. And when I've done the sort here, let's see what we get. 6.25 puts it into 30th position, believe it or not, just behind My Way from Dominic Dale Winton. And the original Cue the Music, Snooker Loopy by Dennis Taylor, and just ahead of I'm a Clown by Peter Ebdon, and Every Best Breath You Take by Snooker Aid. So,
Snooker Aid.
But there you have it. That is our Cue the Music segment done. Thank you very much to Archie Smith for sending that along. Obviously, if you want to get involved, we need all the help that we can for Cue the Music, Cue the Laughter. We want to see it all. We want to give you guys a platform to share all of that as well. We want to make this channel a sort of archive of all of the silly things that snooker has ever had, whether that be music, merchandise, little clips from the BBC coverage. We've got more of that coming up over the World Championship as well. Obviously, no copyright intended. It is all just to try and keep it in one place for people to enjoy and see this niche stuff that very few people seem to have found over the years. It's... It is cool to be doing it. So, do let us know with the links below in the comments of the videos or by emailing us at snookerloopypodcast@gmail.com to get in touch.
I mean, I will say this video of the Hurricane, it's got about 22,000 views, which in terms of Cue the Music, it probably makes it one of the biggest songs.
Absolutely, yeah. We will be continuing with our special segments over the next 17 days as well. Obviously, we'll do it slightly differently. I think last year we did one of each per episode, didn't we? So if we do a Cue the Laughter one day, it'll be a Cue the Music the next day. And I've got a couple of little ideas of how to switch it up a little bit, which I'll discuss with Tom off air. But yeah, any final words for today's preview, Tom?
But I'm really excited for the championship. Let us know your predictions below, and it all starts very, very soon, and so I hope you're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, we will be back on Sunday morning time, I think. We'll let the first day of the Crucible. We'll probably record it straight after the result of Kyron Wilson's first round match, and we'll talk about the first round action. And typically we should be in that morning slot to round up the previous day's coverage, like we did last year. It probably won't be every single day. Certainly as the tournament goes on, there's less to talk about because there's less results. But certainly early on, we will try and keep it daily for you. So make sure that you have subscribed. You can listen on Spotify, of course, as well. And do get in touch with us. We want to hear all of your views and share it around. If you think other people will enjoy the podcast just like yourself, then do please share it out. We want to try and grow the podcast as much as possible over the next couple of weeks and lead into the summer and hopefully get some guests on and really go for a big push in the 25-26 season. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, everybody, and we will see you on Sunday.
Goodbye.